Alright, welcome everyone. So today we are basically going to be going over, what exactly is it that the game I am making is about, the Stonehealed 666. Well, so today I will be explaining that to you. Some people have been wondering to me, like, what the heck is this game supposed to be about? Well, to start off, I'd say that it is a single-player 2D open-world RPG. With kind of pixely graphics, retro type kind of a game, and it is made with Game Maker Studio 2. Um, Basically, at the beginning of my game, with the intro, it's basically explaining what is happening to the protagonist's grandfather, who had mysteriously disappeared. And so there will be like this text prompt, and a narrator will be explaining something like, um, here, I can actually do it right now. An old man sits at his desk, finishing up his last piece of work, because tomorrow he is going to be retiring from his job after working there for 41 years. He sat back in his large leather chair and took a deep breath while looking out at the windy sky and the large waves crashing against a rocky beach. All of a sudden, he started to feel awfully sick. He felt some sort of weird twitch in his body. His skin started feeling dry, and his eyes hurt. He got up and looked at his mirror to see that his hair had turned dark black, and then he felt nothing at all in his body, and he couldn't move. His eyes turned completely blood red, his skin shriveled up, and he began to float in midair. The window slashed open, and he slowly drifted out into the windy sky, disappearing into the fog. Um, so, After that, it's basically going to be explaining, what happens to him at his, like, when you go and visit him the next day, and you find that he had disappeared. So once you head to his house, and he's not there, you go, and it's kind of at night, pretty late out. And so you go looking along the streets, along the shore, and then you see a strange boat pull up, and this mysterious sailor comes out and convinces you that he knows where your grandfather is, and that he is on an island deep within the Atlantic Ocean. And so wanting to seek adventure and to find your grandpa, you decide to go ahead and get on the boat with this mysterious sailor, and it's actually really foggy out, so you can't even see what he looks like. So it's kind of a sketchy situation, but you really care about him, and yeah. So um, once you get to the island, and you get off at the docks and stuff, you come to find out during the game that these Satanists found communication with the devil, wanting him to rule the world, and he gave them instructions to summon him from hell. So they have to build a beacon. So they figured out a way to bring back an island that had been washed up with water years ago, that actually was inhabited with people. And so when the island came back, the people also came back, as well as zombies, because they had been dead for so long. So some are hostile, some are gentle, and in the center of the island, the Satanists are building a large beacon of hell, like I said. So once you get there, you have to try and stop them from building it. So anyways, back to your grandfather. What exactly happens to him? So these Satanists also tried to figure out how to create slaves of their own. So by doing this, they possessed random people around the world to make them their slaves. So that's why his grandpa looked different, because when you get possessed, stuff changes. And so that's like, these Satanists really have quite a lot of power granted by the devil. So that's how they were able to bring back an island and just possess random people that get them as your slaves and stuff. So I'm trying my best to explain some of the basic ideas of this story without trying to steal it. So what exactly will you do in the game? So this island is very, very large. It contains 4 different, reasonably small villages. They're not like really small. They're not too large. Um, there's this really big castle, mountains to roam, farms to settle on, uh, caves to explore, puzzles to solve, vendors to shop at, ancient ruins to explore. You can also go to the large building site where the Satanists and their so-called followers or slaves are building the beacon to hell. You'll go there towards the end of the game, and there are many other various places to check out. You'll come across many enemies, along your journey as you come across various possessed people wandering around. You can fight bandits, because, once you come back, not everybody is going to be very peaceful like some of the villagers and people living in the castle are. So there are some bandits that you can fight. What else? Yeah, so you can fight bandits, and you can also take over their territories. You can fight mutated zombies and animals, fight aliens. So there's this one part in the story where you're just walking along, and this really large, like UFO crashes into the ground. So that's quite an interesting part of the story that I had included. And then you can also fight the devil himself at the end of the game. So some people ask me, like, why have it be Satanists as the so-called enemy? Why have everything be all so satanic? Well, it's because I really find it quite interesting, and I do not agree with it, but it's definitely something that I've literally never heard of a Satanist or possessed people in a video game before. It's one thing with being possessed, but I've never heard of some sort of a Satan worshiper in a game. Um, but like, I feel like I had them be the enemy because it feels like it gets a little bit too repetitive when all of the enemies are Russians, zombies, mutants, Nazis, etc. Stuff like that. So I just kind of wanted to have it be a mixed up kind of enemy type. Yes, there will be aliens in there. Yes, there will be some sort of form of mutant, but more mutated zombies. But the zombies are peaceful in this game, so that's quite different as well. And yes, there are aliens, but I do feel like that it's a fairly small part of the story, but it's a pretty cool quest line. So now if people are gonna go up to me and ask me, what exactly is it that your game is about, I can just show them this video, and it's a lot more convenient without having to explain the story so many other times, because you can just say it so many times without being like, so it's a really, really unique story, for sure. I took really quite some time to come up with this. There's actually a video on this channel of, like, a few years ago, like, I think back in 2016 when I was a lot younger, and I had made like a mini game of this, definitely very unfinished. I didn't even know how to code. I just used the D&D for Game Maker Studio 1, and it really wasn't great, but I had somewhat of an idea. Like I said, I've built off of the ideas from like my ideas from back then, as your grandfather disappears, you have to come sort of island with a bunch of people who want to summon some sort of a portal or something. I had no idea about the whole Satanist thing back then, but I've definitely built off of the ideas. I know from some of the devlogs, the game really doesn't look good, but I am absolutely terrible at, animating things and making pixel art and making characters and movement and stuff like that. I'm just really terrible at that. But hopefully I should be getting better along the way. And once I go further along, definitely the game will patch itself up. It will look a whole lot better. What I'd say, some of the animations and movement and some of what, the graphics and stuff are going to look like, for the final product, would look something similar to like Streets of Rogue, Undertale, and Stardew Valley. Some of those games have, really inspired me, because part of the reason why is because all of those games were made by one person. Now there's this other game that I really admire as well, and it's called Dusk. It's this really cool first-person shooter game made by one guy. He did get some help from for music and stuff like that, but he made it with Unity, and I was just like, wow, that's really cool, and that's part of why, it kind of inspired me to make this. Um, but yeah, it really doesn't look great now, but part of the reason why I'm doing these devlogs is so that, I can show how every week I really have improved upon my game. Just, little bits here and there. I'll definitely be making more a lot during the summertime, but recently I've been fairly busy. So yeah, so hopefully this should explain some of the stuff to you guys. And I really hope you enjoy it. So please go ahead and stick with me along this journey. It will definitely take several years, but hopefully I still go on with this, and I'm really excited to keep on working on this game. So thank you for watching. Please make sure to go ahead and like the video and subscribe, and make sure to leave ideas and comments and suggestions, and what you thought about the idea of this game, and how it's going to go.